James Chen adjusted his collar as the Hypertrain's magnetic engines hummed beneath his feet. The Neo-Tokyo Central Station buzzed with the usual afternoon chaos. Humans rushing between platforms, their briefcases clutched tight, while various alien species conducted their own business with the quiet efficiency that had become standard since the Galactic Trade Agreement. He was reviewing quarterly reports on his neural implant when something made him pause. There, hunched against the gleaming titanium wall near Platform 7, sat a figure that made his breath catch. The beggar wore tattered robes that had once been white, now stained with the grime of countless station floors. Her skin had the telltale blue-silver sheen of a Zarathi, one of the more humanoid species from the Andromeda sector. But it was her eyes, those unmistakable violet eyes that made James's world tilt. "Elsa," he whispered. The Zarathi woman looked up, and for a moment the years melted away. Those same eyes that had once sparkled with laughter in his college dorm room now held depths of exhaustion he'd never seen before. Her once pristine silver hair, a mark of Zarathi nobility, hung limp around her shoulders. "James Chen," she said, her voice carrying that musical quality all Zarathi possessed, though now it was hoarse with disuse. "I wondered if I'd ever see you again." He knelt beside her, ignoring the stares from passing commuters. "What happened to you? Last I heard, you were ascending to the High Council of Zerath Prime." A bitter laugh escaped her lips. "That was before the revolution. Before my people decided that anyone who had spent too much time among humans was contaminated." James felt his jaw clench. He'd heard whispers of the Zarathi isolationist movement, but the news networks had downplayed its significance. "They exiled you?" "Worse. They stripped me of my bio-citizenship. I'm legally dead on Zerath Prime." She gestured to her shabby appearance. "Without citizenship, I can't work in most sectors. The Galactic Employment Registry won't even process my applications." The irony wasn't lost on him. 5 years ago, Elsa had turned down his marriage proposal, choosing her duty to her people over their love. "I have to return to Zerath," she'd said, tears streaming down her face. "My people need me. We're on the verge of a new age, and I can't abandon them for personal happiness." Now here she was, abandoned by those very people. James stood abruptly. "Come with me." "I can't ask you to." "You're not asking. I'm telling you." He extended his hand. "There's something you need to see." Elsa hesitated, then took his hand. Her skin was still warm, still carried that faint electrical tingle that all Zarathi possessed. James led her through the station's maze of corridors, past the departure boards and tourist kiosks, until they reached the executive level. His company's logo gleamed on the wall, Chen Biosynthetics, Bridging Species, Building Tomorrow. "You remember my senior thesis?" James asked as they entered his office suite. "The one about creating universal workplace compatibility between different species biologies?" Elsa nodded slowly. "You wanted to eliminate the barriers that prevented interspecies cooperation." "I did more than want it." James gestured to the floor-to-ceiling windows that looked out over the city. Below them, construction crews worked on a massive building project. Humans, Zarathi, vegan crystal beings, and a dozen other species laboring side by side. "We've got contracts on 18 worlds now. Turns out, when you solve the compatibility problem, everyone benefits." He pulled up holographic displays showing profit margins, employment statistics, and testimonials. 60% of my workforce is non-human. We've created more interspecies jobs in the last 3 years than the Galactic Trade Agreement managed in 30. "James, this is incredible, but I don't understand why." "Because I built all of this thinking about you," he said quietly. "Every breakthrough, every innovation. I kept thinking about how you said your people needed you. But it turned out, all our people needed us to work together." He turned to face her fully. "Elsa, I need a chief integration officer, someone who understands both the political and biological challenges of interspecies cooperation, someone who's lived in both worlds and knows what we're fighting against." The silence stretched between them. Finally, Elsa spoke. My people cast me out for being too human. What makes you think other species will trust me? Because you're living proof that loyalty to an ideal matters more than loyalty to a flag. James pulled up another holographic display, news feeds from across the galaxy showing peaceful protests, integration rallies, and mixed species communities flourishing. The isolationists are losing, Elsa, on every world. Turns out that when people work together, they remember why they fell in love with each other in the first place. Elsa's eyes widened as she absorbed the scope of what he was showing her. You're talking about changing the fundamental structure of galactic society. I'm talking about finishing what we started in college, James replied. You said your people needed you. Well, all our people need us now, both of us. She was quiet for a long moment, staring out at the construction site below where dozens of species worked in harmony. When she finally spoke, her voice was stronger than it had been in years. What would be my first assignment? James smiled, the first genuine smile he'd felt in 5 years. There's a refugee crisis brewing in the Proxima sector. 3 different species fleeing political upheaval, and nobody wants to take them in. I was thinking we could build them something better than a refugee camp. An integrated colony, Elsa breathed, where they could build a new society together. Exactly. James pulled out a chair for her at the conference table. So, Elsa Varix Chen, are you ready to change the galaxy? She looked at him sharply. Varix Chen? Just testing how it sounds, he said with a grin. We can discuss the personal stuff after we save civilization. For the first time in years, Elsa laughed, really laughed, and the sound filled the office with music. Outside, the Hypertrain's whistle echoed across the station, carrying passengers toward their destinations among the stars.